everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a video where we are going to talk about eyeshadow palettes. This is going to be a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. I don't know how many, I'll pop the number up here. Eyeshadow palettes that surprised me in a good way and in a bad way. I got this video idea from my friend Samantha March. She was doing a video about like palettes that she shouldn't like, but she does, like palettes that surprised her. I'm having my dog go down here if you're wondering what I'm doing. And I decided to do that video. I will of course link it down below in case you want to check out what video inspired me to do this. I want to do a version of that myself, but I decided to also include palettes that surprised me and not in a good way, in like a negative way. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 palettes that I've thought I was gonna love based on previous experiences, based on these brands, based on my preferences when it comes to colors, my preferences when it comes to just these brands and the formulas and all of that. But I kind of didn't. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 palettes that in a sense didn't think I was gonna dislike. I just didn't think I was gonna like them this much. And I'm not including palettes here that I like the first time I tried the brand and I realized how good the brand is, like Cosmic Brushes or ABH Cosmetics. We all know how I was raving about like the Blueberry Muffin palette and the Serenity palette. These are gonna be palettes that I knew of the brand. I had tried the brand before and I thought I knew what I was gonna get. I thought that I was prepared for this palette, but after trying it, I like it even more than I thought I was gonna like it, and I am positively surprised because the brand made me like this more than I initially thought I would. Let's start with this one because I feel like this is the most surprising one, and this is the Italian Spritz by Too Faced. This one came out this summer and I feel like this is the renaissance that Too Faced was desperately needing, at least in the like makeup community when it comes to eyeshadows, because they have been getting pretty mediocre reviews on a bunch of their eyeshadow palettes that have been coming out the past 2-3 years. Nobody has been like super excited except those holiday palettes that come in a tin, and I'm excited to see that they're doing something similar to that, something that is food themed or drink themed, but still in a summer version for summer. The packaging is stunning. The color selection is a great color selection to meet like the bridge between people who love neutrals and the people who love colors, because a lot of these colors go together. You can do only bright shadows, like all of these will work together, the brights, and you can do only neutrals if you want to as well, if you don't want to dip into them. But also like a bunch of these shades really work together. So if you just want to use one colorful matte and then ground it with a couple of neutral mattes, it's totally possible. And I didn't think I was gonna hate this palette. I really didn't, but I will say that this palette really made me realize, oh, this is why people have been loving Too Faced before, because this is probably something similar to what they had before. But in my mind, I kind of thought that their eyeshadow palette formula was going to be bad, and I feel bad for saying that, but this is actually good. It's more than good, it's great. It's a great palette and I highly recommend it. Packaging is stunning. It smells a little sweet, almost like a lemonade, I would say. Nothing overpowering, definitely doesn't linger. Color story is cute. I like it. And I feel bad saying that I have little to no hope, but I like it. It surprised me. And this palette is a palette that I kind of knew that I was gonna like it because I like the ABH formula. I think ABH makes really great eyeshadows, but I bought this one thinking it's probably gonna be too neutral for me. This is the Nouveau palette that they came out with last year sometime, but I really like this one. It's performs beautifully, it swatches beautifully, the color story is more intriguing and more exciting than you think it's gonna be, and these colors work together in different combinations in a way that I actually wasn't prepared for, and the pop of purple makes more sense here than I also initially thought it would. This like neutral, like I don't know if you can see, it's like a almost orange with a pale goldy peachy sheen, super beautiful. The only thing that's not ideal for me in this palette, because this one is super pigmented, it's a great inner corner highlight. I wish this one was a matte, but it is a satin. But with that being said, I have used this one in my outer corner and it works perfectly fine. Overall, I did not think I was gonna like this one, but I really do. And I maybe should have included but I didn't, the palette that came out after this one, which was the rose metal roses or something, which based on this one I thought I was gonna love, but I didn't, because I thought the color story was just not as wearable or as innovative, or as, I want to say, like, it was not giving as many possibilities as this. I feel like whatever I did with that palette, it kind of ended up being the same grungy dark thing, which is maybe not a bad thing, but this one has so much more possibilities. So I thought I was gonna like it, but I love it. I think it's a really, really good palette. This one, I'm mentioning this one, but I feel bad because it's sold out. I hope they're gonna restock this one. I had such, I don't want to say low expectations. That is not true. This is Colourpop's Flirty talk. I love Colourpop. I have a cold with Colourpop. I think Colourpop is great. But I saw this one and I was like, ugh, it's another Valentine's palette. Because this one came out for Valentine's this year. And I was like, ugh, it's another Valentine's palette. It's probably fine. I didn't even do a video on this one. I didn't even include this one in a, I think I included it in a Get Ready With Me. No, I did a reel on this one, mixing it with another palette. Like literally expectations were mediocre. I was gonna be like, this is gonna be another one, like, it's a pretty palette. But this is such a nice palette. The color story, the textures, there is some unexpected elements to this, but first and foremost, the quality is great. This is red going into like almost like magenta, red, pink, and then ending up with a baby pink corner and a white matte with pink sparkles, which is such a pigmented and intense color. I have reached into this palette so many times just to use this color right here. It's beautiful. There's a super shock. There is a glitter shadow, but it doesn't have a eye safety warning, which means that it's a finely milled glitter shadow that is like, I don't want to say encapsulated, but like it's in the formula. It's more like a glittery shadow that is considered eye safe. There is a duochrome here. It's a pink to a blue. Ugh, so beautiful. Overall, great quality palette, great quality formula, really great color story. And I was gonna pass this off as like, oh, it's another one of those quick releases that like doesn't leave a mark, but this is so good and it's sold out, and I'm like, I hope they bring it back. I've loved Glamlife for a really long time. I have bought some of their palettes. I've gotten their PR the last couple of years, and I've always thought that their formula have been really nice. Not my absolute favorite formula in the world, but it's been a really solid, nice formula, pigmented, nice, great shimmers. But they did a little tweaking with their formula, starting with this palette, which is the Frosted Flakes palette that they did in collaboration with, well, Frosted Flakes. Such an unexpected thing. But this also combines two of my absolute favorite colors to wear on my eyes, which is orange and blue. I love orange and blue, and I love them together. This is where Glamlife did something with their formula, and they went from good to great. And I remember how I was surprised and being like, wait, this is great. Pun intended? Not really, but I'm loving where we ended up with that one. The formula is so solid. The pigment of these mattes, the way they build, they have that lovely little grip to them that I love when mattes have. The shimmers are incredible. And I was just like, wait, what happened here? And I love that. I love when indie brands go from good to great. And I was not expecting this to be a bad palette in any way, shape, or form. I had higher hopes for this one than I did for this one. But I did not expect this to be this good, and I did not expect Glamlife to just sneakingly put in like, oh, by the way, we improved our formula, because I remember viewing the Hershey palettes that they did, and I remember saying, I don't know, they're okay, but like this isn't their best formula, and then they did this, woo! Amazing. And it's the same with Nomad Cosmetics. I've always liked Nomad Cosmetics. Some palettes I've liked less, some palettes I've liked more. I didn't think I was gonna love this one the way that I did. This is the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette that they did also, I think, last year. And this is a neon rainbow palette together with a green monochromatic palette. Basically, they took those two and they put them together. The way that this palette's meant to be is exactly the same as the front. It's meant to be a rainforest with pops of tropic birds and butterflies and flowers peeking through the greenery. And I just think everything about this palette, from the packaging to the color story to the quality, everything about this palette is amazing. I love the looks that I've done with this. I have reached for this palette to complement other looks that I have done. And I overall still think that this is my favorite Nomad Cosmetics palette. The shimmers are beautiful, the mattes are beautiful, the color scheme, the whole theming. And I thought that like, oh, I'm gonna like it. The way that I felt about the Provence palette. Like, I liked it. It was a nice palette. I liked it. No, I love this. I love this, and the more I look at it, the more I use it, I think it's so fun and so beautiful. And just this duochrome here with the purpley blue, and then this duochrome that's like a brown, like a greeny brown pink. So pretty. Yeah, definitely a hit in my eyes. I think they did so good with this palette. And this is where I truly went like, oh, okay. Because I really love them. I'm even wearing Nomad today. I did film this look. It's already live on my channel. I will leave a link to that in the description box together with all of these palettes, of course, if they're available. I don't know if they're available or not, but I think this one is incredible, and it's still my favorite palette from Nomad. Although I will say I do really like the Romeo and Juliet palette I did, the Verona one. It's really nice as well. Is this going to be the oldest palette that I'm going to talk about? Maybe. Possibly. This is so random. This is the Huda Beauty Nude Medium. I remember when these came out and I was like, wait, am I buying a neutral palette? Because me and Amy from Amy Loves Makeup and Karen Harris, we did a collab together where Karen was using the deep one, I was using the medium one, and Amy was using the light one. And we just did one look with each, just basically showing how they look on different skin tones. Why am I so shiny? Basically showing how they look on different skin tones, giving like our thoughts about that and everything. I would say I'm more of a light medium than a medium, but like you catch my drift. But I ended up realizing this formula is great. These colors are beautiful. These like deeper ones, super stunning. And this is the first time where I went like, wait, maybe Huda has like really great shadows. And also everything I've tried since have been like, it's okay. It's okay. I did like that one. I bought one from the Animal series. What was that? The Panther? Or did I buy the snake one? I bought one of those. That one was nice too, but there's been a couple of these, the neon ones, the color block ones. Not the neon ones. Those are not the ones I tried. I tried the color block ones, and I tried some other that was like kind of mediocre as well. But this one is great. And this is one of the first neutral palettes that I tried on my YouTube channel where I was like, wait, you're kind of nice. I kind of like you. Did not see that one coming. This one is two palettes that I would have never bought with my own money. I'm gonna be honest with you, I would have never in a million years bought these with my own money, but I am so grateful that I was sent these as PR because the quality, it's incredible. And that is the two big palettes from Bella Beauté bar. But these are big. Like big. Let's start with the Pastel Garden. These are both available, and I have done, I think, a Get Ready With Me with this one. Look at how big it is, but like the quality is beautiful. Like if you like pastels, you have everything in here, and the shimmers are super beautiful, very interesting, high shine, duochromes, shifty shades, really beautiful. And even though I personally would have preferred something smaller, I can't deny that Bella Beauté bar went and did something with the quality. Like the quality is incredible. And then they released this one, and this is one of the newer palettes in my collection. I have a video where I am doing a look with this one. This is the Smoky Glam. Again, this is, I would not have bought this myself. It's too big. I love the color story that's going on over here, and that's why I did a look with it. But this quality though. I have tried a highlighter palette from Bella Beauté bar. One of the best, if not the best, multichrome highlighter palettes or highlighter like formulas on the market. It's called the Oracle palette. I think it's still available on their site. If you're looking for multichrome highlighters, I cannot recommend it enough. It is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I think I have a code with, I have a code with Bella Beauté bar and with Nomad. I will leave the codes down below in case you are interested in any of these, or in case you just want to check out the websites and see what they're offering. But I would never have bought something that's this big and this like neutral leaning in the lower part, especially since I'm not a person that wears a lot of cool tones. But this formula, I even said in the video where I did that I did on this palette, I literally said this could be the next up and coming hype brand if they are able to keep this formula and also produce some other smaller palettes in the future. I think that they have a very bright future ahead of them because the formula is so nice. And the brand did tell me that there are more things coming, and I am very excited to see it. The next thing that I am gonna mention, and this is gonna be the last palette that I mentioned that I was positive, like have a positive surprise about, and that is the Unearthly Cosmetics Vitality palette. I did not do any new swatches on this one, mainly because this is now discontinued, and the brand has said that she is reworking this just a smidge. I think she is changing some shades out and she's changing the packaging, and it is coming back, which makes me super excited because I know when I got this one, I was like, it's a rainbow palette, and also I was like, oh, it's very big. But I love Unearthly Cosmetics. So this was again same as the Colourpop palette. It's not that I didn't think I was gonna like it. Like I thought I was gonna like it. I like Unearthly, but the color combos that I've been able to have here, the shimmers are incredibly beautiful duochromes that really go together with a lot of these things. The layout of this palette is stunning as well. I'm excited to see if there's gonna be an equally stunning layout of the new palette. And there's just so many good combos in this, and all the looks that I've done with this palette I have loved. And I was so surprised at how much I love Vitality, and I've been talking about it again and again and again and again since I did my video on it. This truly is one of my favorite palettes from Unearthly, and it is surprising because I usually say like, oh, it's just another rainbow palette, but this is one of my favorite rainbow palettes in my collection. I think it's stunning. I will of course let you know once this one is back in stock again. We're all hoping that it's going to be sometime this summer, but we'll see. Now, let's talk about a couple of palettes that I bought with intent to review, fully thinking that I was going to love them and being slightly disappointed. And I think here's the matte shadows, the matte Obsession palettes by Huda. These are the ones that I tried that were like, well, they're okay. They're okay. I hate the cream shadows in these. They're a little finicky, and the color story is nice. This one has like a very mid-tone color story. I don't think that there's enough contrast in this one. This one in here just doesn't really translate light at all or bright on my skin tones. I think you have to have a tan to deep skin tone to get enough contrast in this palette. It's not that I like hate them, because I don't think that these are bad palettes. I feel like the color block palettes that I tried from Huda were like actually not really good quality. These are fine, but I was like thinking I was gonna like them as much as I like that other nude palette, because they're like, oh, neutrals from Huda and she does mattes good. Like, I'm sure I'm gonna love these. And I was like, they're okay. I just had some kind of expectations, and that palette did not live up to it. The next palette that I am like, I don't even think that I've done like a proper review on this one, and I'm not showing you swatches of the palettes that I'm like a little bit disappointed. Doing B-roll swatches of a palette takes somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes per palette. I am not spending a couple of hours swatching palettes that I'm not even in love with. It's not happening. We're not doing that. This is the Lavish palette by Colourpop. Colourpop has a pretty good track record at making good purple eyeshadows. These are just a little dusty, a little sheer. They're not super pigmented on the eyes. I think the shimmers are nice. And this pastel, no, it's this one. This pastel purple here, beautiful. But this is the only truly pigmented color in the palette. The rest are just like a little meh. And I thought that this was going to be great because Colourpop, again, has a great track record of making really, really good purple eyeshadows. This just doesn't happen to be one of them. Another brand that I always count on making amazing eyeshadows is Melt. I like Melt. I've liked most of the palettes that I've tried from Melt. The only one that I didn't love was the 420 palette. I thought that formula was a little chalky and I didn't feel like it built on itself. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I didn't like it at all. I think that's probably just a matter of preference. This is the, what is it called? Electric palette. This is the one they came out with this spring. I don't hate the color story. I think it's a perfectly fine color story, but I think, and this is just me, I think Melt changed their formula, and I don't think they changed it for the better. I, myself, as someone who have tried pretty much everything that Melt has ever released, except like the brunette palette, which was the brown palette, I notice a difference in both the shimmers and the mattes. And for me, Melt has always been that brand that like, oh, sometimes I love the shimmers, sometimes I don't, but it's okay because their mattes are some of the best mattes in the industry, and they changed them and they're like, meh. Like, they're not bad, but they're not that pigmented, almost grippy formula that you can build and build and build. This is a little bit more dusty. It's not as buildable. Some of the colors are a little sheer, like they're not fully opaque. And it's not like it's a bad formula. It's not like this is like an absolute dud. But if you know Melt and you know what you think you're gonna get, I don't think that this is that. And that's why I'm putting this in the disappointing category, because I was expecting Melt. And I just feel like this new Melt, I don't know her, and I'm honestly not sure I want to know her, if I'm gonna be totally honest. This one I feel a little bad about because I had been waiting for years and years and years and years to try the Give Me Glow formula. This is the Nightlife palette. It's one that's called like coral or something, and one that's like a blue-green. Here, the color story is stunning. The color story is stunning, and one of mine came a little shattered, so I repressed it, but I think you can even see here. I think that this formula is very pigmented, a little dry in the texture, which doesn't really bother me, but it's not super easy to blend. It doesn't really gradient, at least these shadows doesn't really beautifully gradient with each other, and I just felt like this is a formula that's not for me. Some people love this formula. I was just like, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite. I was kind of thinking I was gonna get something else, and I am a matte girly. I think the shimmers are beautiful. I think color story is beautiful. Let me show you the other one. But I was kind of expecting a different kind of a formula, and what I got wasn't what I thought I was gonna get. Like these shades, when I blended them together, it turned into one shade. There was no gradient. It's just, I was missing some grip to the formula, and I don't hate it, but I was like, I had such high expectations, and I really thought, I'm finally getting around to try Give Me Glow. This is gonna be another one of my favorite indie brands, and it kind of just halted me in my steps, and I was like, wait, this isn't bad, but this isn't the kind of formula that I love to work with. So I actually never bought anything else from Give Me Glow after, and I felt bad in a way because I want to love all indie brands, and it's not that I think they make bad shadows. I think the shimmers are incredible, but I'm a matte girly, and the matte formula wasn't my favorite matte formula. I just felt like it all turned a little dry, a little muddy, and it wasn't perfect to work with the techniques that I use. Now we're getting into the last one, and I'm always excited about Natasha Denona. Always excited about Natasha Denona, and when she was coming up with this midi palette that is the Retro Glam, I was like, yes. Oh, I'm gonna love this so much. I kind of don't. I think this color story is a little mediocre. In theory, I like it, but it turns a little dull on the eyes. A bunch of these shades look very similar ones on the eyes, and even though I have so many shades to choose from, I feel like it blends together and they all feel the same, and I just wasn't loving it. And also on me, I love warm tones over cool tones, so sometimes when I was trying to blend some of these, I just felt like they didn't translate wonderfully on my skin, and some of these turn muddy. Like the pink and the green is a good in theory, but these kind of pinks and these kind of greens turn extremely muddy if they even like touch in the way that I like to do my makeup. Again, this is a personal preference. This is only color story. I like the quality a lot of this palette, and I thought I was gonna love this color story, but once I got it on my eyes, I was like, I actually don't. It's lacking a little bit of dimension, not dimension, but it's lacking a little bit of contrast, and I also feel like some of the shades are a little bit too similar, and I also realized that this is slightly too cool toned and muted at the same time to be something that I'm gonna love on my skin tone, which is okay because this is only a preference thing. I thought I was gonna love it, but the more I used it, the more I realized this isn't my favorite color story from Natasha Denona, and it's okay because I have other palettes from the brand that I really love and enjoy, like the original, the one that's only called Retro. Absolutely love it. This one, not so much, not my favorite. Oh my god, am I sweating this much? madness. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. Please let me know in the comments, did you buy a palette or try a palette that you thought you were gonna love, or you thought you were gonna feel like meh about, but you ended up loving it, or you ended up hating it? I would love to hear about it down in the comments. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. When you're seeing this video, I am still on my vacation in Europe, so if I'm not answering any comments, that is probably why, but I will see you soon again in a new video. Bye!